known as the Gold Coast, is located along the coast of West Africa. The country is 238,537 square kilometers in size, with a population of about 20 million. Ghana is the first country in sub-Saharan Africa to gain independence from colonial rule in 1957 and currently operates a multi-party democracy system of government. A well-administered country by regional standards, Ghana is often seen as a model for political and economic reform in Africa. The country has 10 administrative regions and a literacy rate of about 75%, with the official language being English. Well endowed with natural resources, Ghana has twice the per capita output of the poorer countries in West Africa. The main exports are gold, cocoa, timber, tuna, bauxite, aluminium, manganese ore, and diamonds. Although gold, timber, and cocoa production are major sources of foreign exchange, cocoa exports are an essential part of the economy, with Ghana being the world's second largest producer. The domestic economy continues to revolve around subsistence agriculture, which accounts for 36% of GDP and employs 60% of the workforce, mainly small landholders. The saying "Cocoa is Ghana, Ghana is cocoa" portrays the important role cocoa plays in the economy of Ghana. Cocoa is the second foreign exchange earner, and the lives of many farmers and their families depend on it. Ghana is also the #1 producer of best quality premium cocoa beans. The trend of the production of cocoa in Ghana has witnessed production of 36.3 tons in 1891 to a peak of 580,000 tons in 1964-65, making Ghana the leading producer of the crop. The 2 decades spanning the mid-60s to the mid-80s saw output dropping to an all-time low figure of 158,956 tons in 1983-84, which was just 9% of world production. History has it that cocoa was first introduced in Ghana by the Dutch missionaries in the early 19th century, but it wasn't until Tete Kwashi, a native of Osu in Accra, who traveled to Fernando Po and returned with Amolinado cocoa pods in 1879 that it began to spread. He established a farm at Akwapim Mampong in the eastern region, from where enthusiastic farmers brought pods to plant, which resulted in the spread of cocoa to other parts of the region. Currently there are 6 cocoa growing areas, namely Ashanti, Brong-Ahafo, Eastern, Volta, Central and Western regions. The Ghana Cocoa Board works with over 100,000 people directly or indirectly across Ghana. The mission of the board is to encourage and facilitate the production, processing and marketing of good quality cocoa, coffee and shea nuts in all forms, in the most efficient and cost-effective manner, and maintain the best mutual industrial relations with its workers. It's headed by a chief executive, who's assisted with a number of deputy chief executives, who themselves are managers of the various divisions of the organization. Cocoa Board has sections that look after cocoa production, such as the Cocoa Research Institute, the Cocoa Seed Production Unit, the Cocoa Swollen Shoot Virus Disease Unit, Quality Control Unit, and the Cocoa Marketing Company, a wholly owned subsidiary of Ghana Cocoa Board, with a mandate to market Ghana's cocoa outside Ghana. The functions of Cocoa Board center on the production, research, extension, internal and external marketing, and quality control of cocoa, and can be classified into 2 main sectors, pre-harvest and post-harvest, which are performed by specialist divisions of the board. The pre-harvest sector functions, which are performed by the Cocoa Research Institute of Ghana, CRIG, the Seed Production Unit, SPU, and the Cocoa Swollen Shoot Virus Disease Control Unit, CSSVDCU, deal with the fundamental issues on actual cocoa production at the farm gate level. CRIG was itself established as a centre of excellence in the study and cultivation of cocoa. It has pioneered work in areas such as disease and pest control. It plays a critical role in assisting Cocoa Board raised cocoa production using specially developed nutrients and fertilizers. It also develops hybrid seeds and seedlings for distribution to farmers, carries out research trials on shade tree selection and into various diseases affecting cocoa production, among others. Craig also undertake research into all byproducts of the cocoa plant, such as fertilizer, animal feed, soap, wine, and jam. This is the first project of its kind where every part of the cocoa plant is utilized. The aim is to encourage cottage industries, where the local farmer can generate further income. CocoaBod, through the SPU, is responsible for the multiplication and distribution of improved cocoa and coffee planting materials to farmers. CSSVD Control Unit is a division of CocoaBod responsible for the control of the cocoa swollen shoot virus disease. The post-harvest sector functions are undertaken by the Quality Control Division, QCD, and the Cocoa Marketing Company, CMC. The international cocoa standards require cocoa of merchantable quality to be fermented, thoroughly dried, free of smoky beans, free from abnormal or foreign odor, and free from any evidence of adulteration. It must reasonably be free from living insects, broken beans, fragments and pieces of shell and foreign matter, and reasonably uniform in size. Throughout the world, the standards of all cocoa is measured against Ghana's cocoa. Efficient marketing of cocoa is of prime concern to CocoaBod. Procurement, transportation, storage and marketing of cocoa, both internally and externally, is coordinated by CocoaBod through the Cocoa Marketing Company Ghana Limited. CMC is a wholly owned subsidiary of CocoaBod to market Ghana cocoa. It performs the external marketing functions of the board, operates the takeover function within the internal marketing system, and handles the sales of cocoa beans, cocoa liqueur, and cocoa butter, as well as the shipment and collection of sales proceeds as its external marketing function. Cocoa is a perennial tree crop of the humid tropics, grown frequently under forest shade. A cocoa field has an economic life of some 25 to 30 years. In West Africa, it's mostly grown under extensive management systems by smallholders, often with only 1 to 2 hectares of the crop. It's estimated that there are 1.7 million cocoa smallholders in Ghana. Ripe fruits are harvested by farmers with long-handled knives or machetes when the fruit has achieved a deep yellow color for most varieties. The harvested pods are collected together and broken open, usually with a wooden baton, and the wet beans covered, with sweet mucilage removed by hand. Ripe fruits are sometimes left in the field for up to 10 days to allow enough labor to be assembled to break the pods all on the same day. The pod husk is discarded, and the wet cocoa beans with their sweet mucilage are then fermented for a number of days. Without this vital process, the chocolate flavor will not be fully developed on a subsequent roasting in the factory. Post-harvest practices can alter cocoa bean quality significantly, particularly the development of flavor precursors. Fermentation is usually essential to develop the original and finest flavor. The fermentation procedure to produce beans having classical West African type flavor involves fermenting beans in a heap under banana leaves for 5 to 7 days. The beans are turned over at least 3 times to ensure the cocoa is thoroughly fermented. The process removes the pulp from the beans, which then change color from beige to purple as they develop their aroma. Good fermentation is the result of the specific characteristics of lactic acid bacteria and acetic acid bacteria. The ability of these microorganisms to break down citric acid and sugars and to oxidize ethanol respectively, resist acidic environments, and tolerate alcohol and heat defines the taste of the resultant chocolate. Once the fermentation process is complete, the beans are dried for at least 5 days in the sun, adding to the premium quality of the cocoa beans. The beans are spread on woven palm leaves on a raised platform, which allows air to blow completely below and above, and thereby thoroughly drying them. Other post-harvest practices such as removing debris, black beans and broken beans, and careful storage all contribute to good quality cocoa beans leaving the farm. Many cocoa quality problems arise from poor or inadequate drying of the beans. Fresh cocoa beans removed from the pod contain 40 to 50% moisture, and this must be reduced to 8% or lower for efficient storage and transport. Drying can also impact on flavor development, with slower drying favored, as this allows acidity to decrease in the beans. It's inefficient to transport wet beans very far, and the presence of too much moisture can encourage mold or fungal growth. Slow-drying cocoa beans on a raised platform in the sun is best, and when the cocoa beans are thoroughly dried, they make a chuckling sound in the palm. The local farmers use this process to determine whether the cocoa bean is thoroughly dried. After picking the beans and preparing it for sales, it's passed on to the local buying clerks, LBCs, who check them to ensure that the beans are not adulterated, are thoroughly dry, and meet the criteria of Ghana quality standards. After the purchase of the beans, the LBCs then send them to the depots, where they're appropriately bagged in clean vegetable oil-treated jute sacks. The quality control officers of the Cocoa Board are invited to sample the beans to ensure it's thoroughly dry. They also undertake cut tests to ensure the beans meet the quality criteria, after which the sacks are sealed to trace the source of the cocoa. Ghana cocoa is mainly graded as grade 1 and 2. The beans are transported to the CMC takeover centres, where further quality checks are undertaken before being accepted and warehoused for shipment. This action is also repeated before cocoa is loaded onto vessels for export. The system has two strengths. A, the immediate feedback to the farmer to ensure the supply of standard good quality cocoa. B, it substantially reduces the chance of delivery of poor quality cocoa to the buyer. With changing consumer tastes and requirements, the global cocoa market today has witnessed new trends in specialized cocoa. These concepts are organic cocoa, fair trade cocoa, and traceable cocoa. To maximize cocoa revenue and to meet rising consumer demands and trends, Ghana is playing a leading role through projects in traceability, fair trade, and organic cocoa. Ghana does not only produce and export raw cocoa beans, it also processes about 30% of its output and is targeting to process 40% in the near future. The Cocoa Board has a significant stake in Ghana's two major processing companies, CPC and WAMCO. Presently, CMC sells and exports all cocoa products produced from WAMCO, which has a capacity in excess of 60,000 metric tons, while it supervises the sale and export of cocoa products from CPC. The Cocoa Processing Company presently is the only cocoa processing outfit in Ghana that produces finished products such as chocolates, drinking cocoa, and other confectionaries. The CMC, by law, is solely responsible for the sale and export of all cocoa beans of Ghana's origin in Ghana. It sells to organizations registered with it as licensed buyers. Firms or individuals wishing to buy Ghana cocoa must show evidence of membership of the Federation of Cocoa Commerce or an equivalent trade organization and must demonstrate that they are organized in such a way as to handle commodities on the terminal markets. The price of cocoa is determined by the price levels at the World Cocoa Market in London and New York, taking account of the prevailing market premiums for Ghana cocoa beans. Sale of cocoa beans and products are made on CIF terms. In other instances, however, sales on FOB and C&I terms are tolerated. Cocoa products are also sold on the basis of the World Cocoa Market prices at the prevailing ratios of the products at the time of sales. Finished products and cocoa byproducts are sold on the basis of the price list published to prospective buyers from time to time. Prominent buyers, including the global leading cocoa processing and chocolate manufacturing companies such as Cargill, ADM, Mars UK, Cadbury, Nestle, Ferrero and Hershey, all rely heavily on Ghana cocoa as an important ingredient. This is what the buyers say about Ghana cocoa.
Ghana quality is the best in the world. It is the creme de la creme of cocoa bean, and the reason for that is you take great care, and that's why it's really good that we have an occasion where we can actually celebrate the farmers and farming, and so you're very welcome today representing really the quality that is embodied in Ghana cocoa.
The cocoa that you supply us, that we make over 70,000 tons of chocolate here in Slough. The taste of the product is heavily reliant on West Africa and heavily reliant on Ghana. It's a taste that the UK consumer, the UK children, UK women love, absolutely love. So thank you for your commitment to quality. Thank you for working with us, and we have really enjoyed working with you.
In order to properly position Ghana Cocoa as best in quality, the Cocoa Marketing Company in Ghana and the UK participate regularly in international trade and promotion fairs, as well as undertake market expansion trips to visit existing and prospective buyers of Ghana Cocoa worldwide. This exercise is used to gather feedback from customers and adapt to new trends and demands for cocoa beans and products. National Cocoa Day on the 1st of October and Chocolate Day on the 14th of February in Ghana is also used as a means to create awareness and promote local consumption. Ghana Cocoa Board finances the annual purchase of Ghana cocoa beans and undertakes subsidiary businesses by borrowing from a syndicate of leading local financial institutions. The key considerations by lenders to COCOBOD are: Ghana sells its cocoa to reputable buyers, 110% coverage ratio against fixed price contracts. Ghana Cocoa Board has never defaulted on its debt obligation and achieves a 100% payment record. Robust operating and financial performance. Strong outlook for the cocoa industry in Ghana. The facility enjoys an average 35% oversubscription consistently over the past 5 years. Presently, COCOBOD's annual trade finance facility that it draws from the financial capital market averages at nearly $1 billion a year, making it one of the largest single syndicated financial facilities in sub-Sahara Africa. Ghana exports cocoa to the UK, Europe, America, Asia and Australia. Cocoa beans from Ghana are shipped from the ports of Tema and Takoradi using Europe-West Africa Trade Agreement Conference shipping lines, registered with COCOBOD. Other independent shipping lines also register with Ghana Cocoa Board to carry cocoa from Ghana. Ghana ships cocoa in break bulk bags, bulk in containers and mega bulk. Ghana Cocoa Board encourages investments in several areas, such as the establishment of cocoa farms and production of good quality cocoa, the marketing of cocoa, coffee and shea nuts, as well as the processing of cocoa into semi-finished and downstream products in Ghana and in the Free Zone area. Other areas of investment include procurement and distribution of farming inputs, such as chemicals and agrochemicals, including fertilizers, farming implements, and marketing inputs such as jute bags, tarpaulins, and weighing scales, to mention a few. There's also the provision of support services in the cocoa sector, including cocoa haulage, warehousing, telecommunication, and courier. Another investment area is the financing of crop purchases and capital outlays. Investments in the cocoa sector are governed by the Ghana Investment Code, which provides attractive concessions and incentives for local and foreign investors. Ghana Cocoa Board, as part of its objectives to increase productivity, have set a medium-term production target. To achieve this, COCOBOD will continue to support farmers to adopt effective agronomic practices to increase productivity of their farms with emphasis on intensive methods of production through diseases and pest control, fertilizer application, and the supply of early-bearing and high-yielding planting materials for rehabilitation of old farms. Besides Ghana's traditional markets, COCOBOD will position itself to take advantage of the potential demand in the new emerging markets of China, Turkey, and other African countries. COCOBOD will continue to exploit the use of commodity futures and other risk management tools to meet the new challenges facing the industry.